Hi folks, it's Cherie back again from Kids Psych. Today's quick flick is about how to get diagnosed in Australia for autism. Usually there's some suspicion that your kid might be a little bit odd. That might come from childcare, family, friends, or even yourself. You might notice that there are some things not working out too well for your kid. Make a list of your concerns and then pop yourselves off to a GP and ask for a referral to a paediatrician. Now, peds can be free or in private clinics. The free clinics are usually located at your regional hospitals, or the GP will refer you to a private clinic and you can nominate. Private peds will have some Medicare rebate, but you'll need to cover the gap out of pocket, so just ask what that is when you book. If you're using the hospital, the clinic will usually ring you for an appointment and there can be wait times. There are pros and cons for autism diagnosis, and some families just don't like the labelling. Diagnosis is the gateway for subsidised treatment and support services, and the NDIS subsidises the treatment services, and schools won't seek funding for support without a diagnosis. Once you're seeing the PED, he or she will determine which allied health providers will be involved in your assessment. The PED determines this usually by the symptoms and concerns noted by you and their own observations and the referral letter from the GP. An OT, psych and speechy are the usual allied health suspects involved, but there can be others. There are 4 Medicare subsidised sessions for the whole assessment. Split between the allied health professionals nominated by your paediatrician. The PED may refer you to a private clinic that offers a package for the assessment, which includes all of those nominated allied health professionals to be involved. There is a gap cost for each allied health professional, and the assessment package on offer usually covers all the assessment process. Shop around even if it means travelling. It's a one-off investment in your child, really. The hospital peds may refer you to a free clinic for assessments based at the hospital. Each hospital has a different assessment criteria, for example, only under 5s, but the ped should know the specs for their own hospital criteria. There's usually a wait list. If your child does not fit the specified criteria for the free assessment service, you can make arrangements with most private clinics to pay off the assessment gap cost if you ask. Not all do this, but all the clinics I've worked for did offer this. Now, the out-of-pocket expenses for a private autism assessment is pretty variable, and it is expensive, but it is luckily a one-off. So don't be afraid to shop around. Your referral is valid for any professional, and you can even engage separate professionals to complete their section. I've outlined here where you would find 3 of the allied health providers you would normally use, and when you ring, always ask the cost of the session and the cost of the report for the paediatrician. So always ask. This CRC, the Autism CRC, a good resource for you to get online and have a look. They provide the national guidelines for the assessment and diagnosis of autism spectrum. And if you want to be well informed, it's a really good read. After the 4 sessions with your respective allied health providers, they'll send their reports to your PED. The reports will have findings and results which will say if your child is consistent with autism. So you and your child will have a follow-up appointment with your PED to determine the diagnosis or not. If you don't have copies of the reports, go back to your allied health provider and they'll give you a copy. It's yours, you paid for it. Ask your PED for a letter confirming diagnosis and the level of severity of your child's autism. For level 1 of severity, your child does not qualify for the NDIS. Instead, the PED will approve 20 sessions of Medicare rebated sessions. Regardless of your severity, I would get these approved by your PED anyway for something that will become clearer later. The 20 sessions are for allied health providers. They are not annually distributed and they need to last until your child is aged 15 years. So where to now? So primary health, which is located in most regional centres, will have free treatment providers for several allied health professionals for level 1 ASD diagnosed treatment services. So contact your local primary health centre for details. The allied health reports will have recommendations identifying areas of concern for treatment. These areas of concern form the backbone of your treatment plan for your child for each allied health provider. If your child is diagnosed at level 2 or 3 by a paediatrician, they'll qualify for NDIS. I'll do another clip about NDIS, But the basics are that the recommendations for each report will establish the backbone of treatment plans for the NDIS plan to establish how much funding you'll be applying for each year. The trick here is that parents may benefit from having a planning session with each provider to outline the type of planning of treatment in detail, plus getting quotes, so your application for NDIS funding has a solid plan and therefore a greater chance of getting funding. The session that you have with your allied health provider dedicated to funding planning for the NDIS could utilise one of the 20 sessions allocated from the PED at the time of diagnosis. Using one of the 20 would at least provide some Medicare rebated funds, which will mean parents need to pay the gap for each of these one-off planning sessions. Otherwise, you'll be out of pocket for the whole fee for each allied health provider that you consult for your planning. I've popped a template on my website for you to use if you want to help with the planning process for your allied health provider. While you're getting all your stuff sorted, get into the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS, via the phone and start your registration process. Don't be surprised when the process does not quite work out the way described on the website. There appear to be many localised variations once you're allocated a planner. Get yourself informed by getting all over the website. Join Facebook groups and other parenting support groups to have opportunities to ask questions from other experienced parents. Well, that's it, guys. I hope it's been helpful and giving you some information to get you going.